get started on some of like kind of the main questions.
All right.
I'll take 1 minute to just kind of talk about Charm ND. So one thing is that you actually came out to me and told me, hey, like, have you thought about doing this sort of design or dainty like other designs for it? And I've definitely evolved into that. I've done some bracelet things. We have the earrings that we do. I don't know if I've showed you the earrings before, or you probably see them on the Instagram. But we've built out all that sort of stuff. But I always just wanted to say thank you for like being like these are cool. You've helped me stay inspired and like come up with new ideas and stuff. So I appreciate it.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
Love it. I like dainty jewelry, so that's what that's what I was thinking when I saw him. I was like, this is such a cool idea. And kind of getting to hear your others. I don't know how in depth you've shared what your other ideas are on the podcast, but kind of your vision of expanding Charmindy. It's
It's
cool.
like
It's a great idea.
it's yeah, and I have talked about it a little bit. Yeah, I don't think anybody's coming on here and then steals it. If they do,
Yeah. Okay.
I have enough like recording hours of talking about it. I gotta be like, you did not come up with this idea. but
I'll
but
vouch for
I,
you
I
if you need.
yeah, right, yeah. Oh, cut, or we bleep it out. Just beep.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's a few different angles and stuff that I want to do, and hopefully I'll be able to bring up some stuff to Notre Dame for USC weekend and stuff. And yeah, I'd love your ideas or love your thoughts on it. Like, oh yeah, this is cool. Or if you did something like that, I'll ask you about it on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, by the way, do you guys have a NBA tailgate going on that
Yes.
game?
Yes. It's in the Walsh parking lot, hole 31. It's kind of
Okay.
in that grass or that green space in between pole 31 and that building. And I
Oh, the
can't remember off
architecture
the top of
building.
my
Remember
head.
we did that last year, right?
Yes, yeah. That's
Okay.
having those tailgates for the specialized masters, and they came at the end of the season more so. We had one specifically specialized masters tailgate set up, and then we had a combined one with the specialized masters and the MBAs. That
Yeah, I
was
set those up.
that was great. That was
Yeah.
great. I loved those. I couldn't believe how fun they were. And I know even right away, it was a little tricky if you're a student who doesn't have a set family that goes and sets up a tailgate. It can be a
Yeah.
little tricky to know where to go right away, how it works,
It's a madhouse.
and who to hang out with. So when the Specialized Masters Council set it up, thank you, Carter, it was that was
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah, those are the top games of last year for sure.
I think my next calling has to be an event planner. I gotta just go become an event planner, I feel
Yeah.
like. I just love doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Well, we'll get back into managing expectations.
okay.
And first question, super difficult right here. What is your full name? And, what is your full name? Where are you from? And talk to me a little bit about your upbringing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my full name is Mackenzie Rose Thielen. I prefer Kenzie.
MRT.
I do not like yeah, I don't care for Mackenzie. And if we're friends, almost everyone calls me Kens. I think that my personality fits Ken's
Okay.
very well. Um
Ken. Ken's
yes,
vibes.
yes, definitely. Um I'm from Minnesota, Prior Lake, Minnesota. It's about 30 minutes south of Minneapolis, and I grew up on the lake. So I'm a
Which
lake girl,
one?
Prior Lake. Yeah.
Because you what? 10 over 10,000.
Yeah. Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes. It's beautiful in the summer, it's beautiful in the fall, and it is unbelievably cold in the winter. It is here in South Bend, Indiana. It is so mild. I The winter was the easiest winter I've ever lived through. So that's kind of a fun fact.
That's cool.
But yeah, a little bit about my upbringing. Of course, being raised in Minnesota, I actually went to a Catholic school, K through eighth grade. And, being in a Catholic school like that, You of course hear about Notre Dame, and Notre Dame being a really big deal. This is where all the smart kids go, and it's a top college in that community. So it's
Right.
very cool. I never thought I'd actually end up here at Notre Dame, um, but hearing about it and hearing teachers talk about it, like it's a big deal. It's so cool to kind of get to actually be here. Um, I went out to South Dakota for my undergrad. I actually was a student athlete. I played softball out there, and that paid
Cool.
for my school. That paid for my undergrad school. And that
What
was,
position?
yeah, that was a great experience. Um, I lived out in South Dakota for 5 years. If
Wow.
anyone knows it, Aberdeen,
Is,
South Dakota.
I was about to say, like, is South Dakota real? You know how people joke about that? Like, is
Yeah,
it a real place?
it is a real place. It is a real place. Definitely. I lived in the third largest city in the state, and it had 30,000 people in it. So,
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
that's
And
insane.
that was the third largest city in the state. So, it's a small place. It's a small place.
Is Sioux Falls the largest? Or am I?
Yes. Sioux Falls is the largest. It probably has anywhere from 100,000 to 150,000, somewhere in that range. And
So
then
like
this,
South Bend?
yeah, I believe so.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's hard to explain until you've been out there. But yes, that is South Bend would be the equivalent in South Dakota. So if you were in South Bend out here and there's no bigger cities in the entire state of Indiana, that's what it would be like.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But then
And
all
then
your government buildings and everything are there, which is
y-
kind of crazy too.
yeah. So then the second largest is Rapid City, South Dakota. That's where Mount Rushmore is. That's
Oh, cool.
where the Black Hills, the Badlands.
Hmm.
It's a beautiful area. Um, they're gonna be around the same size as Sioux Falls, I believe. They're gonna be pretty close. A little bit less, but it's pretty close. And then it drops significantly to Aberdeen, which is about 30,000.
So, did you enjoy it and like you loved being able to have that experience and then shifting over to now you're South Bend, Indiana. You keep going east. Are you gonna end up going east more or where do you want to be?
Yeah. So I definitely appreciated a lot of what South Dakota has. There's the people there and the community there are very, very supportive. Um, it's it's a really everyone in the community cares about the college, and cares about their neighbors and just people who are there. I know I had multiple times where my car would break down and people would just stop on the side of the road in the freezing winter. They would fix my car for me, not charge me, and just leave. Like these guys who happen to know what they were doing. Um,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
and and I didn't have to ask for it. You know, they just helped. Um, so there were some cool things like that
Cool.
that I loved about it. I appreciated it. Being a Division II athlete out at the school, the town really rallied around the school, and so going out in the community, I got the feeling like I was maybe a bigger deal athlete than I actually was, right? Division II is not necessarily
Bro,
that,
she
but
plays softball for South Dakota.
yeah. Yeah, so but the community cared and would recognize you out in the community, and people had bought my groceries for me before when, if I was standing in
What?
line and they were talking to me as they were standing behind me. There was a couple times people paid for my groceries. And so it was just really, that aspect of it was so cool. And I haven't found that necessarily, in Minnesota, I would say. I do I do feel there's a very special connection here at Notre Dame as well, like
That's
definitely.
crazy.
Um, but that part of South Dakota, I really appreciate. I think, I think personally, it was a little too rural for me. So, um, it was a little bit too small and a little bit too rural for me in the long term.
Hmm.
Um, I need to be a little bit closer to a larger city. Um,
You need a little bit of life. You need a little something, something. I get that. I get
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I moved back to like the St. Paul, Minneapolis area. I lived downtown St. Paul. I did sales and business development for a while. Boom, pandemic hits. Things get crazy. We're all locked up in our little apartment in downtown St. Paul. Um, on top of that, I was actually in the heart of the um, George Floyd killing and the riots that happened after that. And
Oh my gosh,
so,
yeah, you're right there.
yeah, me and my sister were right there. That was a crazy thing to experience and to have to leave and evacuate and go to my mom's house for the week. But I think it makes just there so many things kind of compiled onto that. I was like, oh well, I really was able to think about what am I doing? How do I want my career to go? How do I want to spend my time? You know, and is this the best time to get a master's degree? Because I know I had always wanted to do something like that, but I had never known exactly where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do with that. And I didn't want to
Yeah.
go just to go anywhere. I did want to make it very intentional. Um, and so that ended up leading me to Notre Dame, where I
Yeah.
am. Yeah.
Building your faith, I bet, too. Just being able to, you said that Catholic upbringing. And I do love hearing how people have found their paths to Notre Dame. Mine was a little bit more so. My dad got his MBA
Hmm.
in '86, and from then on out, like Notre Dame fans through and through forever. My grandfather was the biggest Notre Dame fan in the whole entire world. All he would do was just like watch Notre Dame football, and he was so proud of my dad going. And when I went there, like I knew that he had passed away, but I knew he was like looking down and just feeling like I can't believe like that connection there. And then my brother I don't think was looking at it. I think he was trying to figure out what he wanted to do or what kind of education he wanted to get as a higher education. And now he's getting his MBA literally in the same class year as you. Like the way that the world and how things kind of cross paths and all coming through Notre Dame is really really cool. So
It
yeah,
is.
yeah,
I do have a funny story to share with you about what actually led me to Notre Dame. So
yeah.
during the pandemic, I actually went on a date with a guy who had just graduated the Notre Dame MBA program. And
Nice.
he told me, he was like, oh, it's great. It's awesome. I loved it. And that planted the seed for me to actually look into it and apply for the program.
Wow. You
Yes.
still talking to him?
Well, no.
He's long gone.
No, I'm not exactly sure what he's doing, but like nicest guy ever. I mean,
Shout
nicest
out.
guy ever. Yeah, appreciate that meeting, but like it was kind of like, oh, like the purpose was like a little bit more of like, oh, a seed to just hear about how great the MBA program was and lead me to applying to, well, what was the M&A program first round, but to look there at Notre Dame. So that was kind of that pivotal like turning moment. So I'm super grateful for that. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm happy. I'm
yeah.
happy you ended up in Notre Dame, and I'm happy we met. Honestly, so it's cool. And look at us now. You're the episode, like you're an episode guest on my podcast. Like that's so cool. Like I just find that to be so cool.
It
So
is so cool. It is so cool, Carter.
it's epic,
Yeah.
honestly epic. So uh, this one, even though this is epic, how would you describe your life in 5 words? What five
Hmm.
words emanate for you?
This one was a tricky one for me, honestly, Carter. This was a hard question. Um, I would say either non-traditional, I would say joyful. Those were the two that popped out at me right away. I would also
Mhm.
say somewhat surprising. I had a tough time coming up with 5 words to describe my life. But
Yeah,
that's those are the ones that jump out at me. Um there's a lot about my life that's very a little bit that's unique.
okay, add that one there. Unique on there.
Yeah, unique. But I describe my life. I mean, the joyful pops out at me too because everyone that's been on my path and that I've been able to interact with, I mean, just it's so special and so many people have been able to add to my life. I mean, look where I am right now. I'm on the podcast at Notre
Living the
Dame.
luck management lifestyle.
Yes, living the luck management lifestyle, getting to talk to these amazing alumni who are so far in their career and have these awesome accomplishments under their belt, and just walking around and feeling, the spirituality that's on Notre Dame, even
Yeah,
in a not exactly Christian way, but just in a how connected people feel and
totally.
in a feel way. I mean, it just there's something just very joyful about that, I think. Even when it's going to get cold here, even during finals week, it's it's joyful. And looking at my path here, I mean, it's a little strange, it's very unique, but ultimately pretty joyful.
Yeah, I mean, with your joyful, I just hear great. Also, I just like hear that from you, and it's like, wow, joyful and grateful. Like they can kind of cross paths, or they do cross paths so much. But that joyful is like an excitement too. I really do see that excitement from you. And so I appreciate that about you. And yeah, you kind of talking a little bit about that uniqueness or non-traditional, like going from like South Dakota and like living that in that world and then dealing with George Floyd. I think that non-traditional, I think traditional is like a fake thing. I don't think anybody lives a traditional life. Like truly, I think it's the best made up thing in the entire world. Like, oh yeah, I live a tradition. Nobody lives a traditional life, and that's not taking away from you. But like this whole idea, it's like, yep, I just want to have the cookie cutter, this and that. It never ends up that way. You got to just roll with the punches. You got to be excited to take on that new thing, and when you can accept that, I think life is a lot better too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it definitely is. I think it's taken me a while to accept and really like, have a lot of appreciation and outwardness with some of those untraditional things about my life, but I think as you said, I mean it's that cookie cutter life that everyone says it's kind of fake. Everyone has their own
Um,
unique life, right? Their own non-traditional things that bring them to where they are. So I really like that, Carter. I really like that because it's very true. It's very true.
it's our story, and it's like there's beauty in every up and down. So that's awesome. And I guess we talked about this a little bit, but like with those 5 traits and who you think you are and the life that you've lived, if you were to expand that into a business, if you were starting a business,
Hmm.
what business do you think you would want to manage? And I know we talked a little bit about this impact investing. Would it be down that lane, or is there another industry that you're like, oh, this was fun. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Ayo, this episode is sponsored and brought to you by CharmND. CharmND specializes in creating unique and authentic sterling silver vials and real items from around the Notre Dame campus. Each charm is carefully handmade and contains a little piece of the Fighting Irish spirit. Vials filled with dirt from the iconic main quad, pellets from the hollowed ground of the Notre Dame football stadium, wood shavings from the seats of the stadium, 24-karat golds from the Notre Dame football helmets, water from the serene St. Joseph's Lake, candle wax from the peaceful grotto, water from the Notre Dame reflecting pond, and holy water for added blessings. Charms are priced at between $20 and $30 and can be customized to your needs as a necklace or a lucky charm. Check us out at charm_ND at Instagram. Our charms are a perfect gift for any Notre Dame fan or alum. So go CharmND and go Irish. Now let's get back to the show.
Right now, I am definitely very interested in, at some point in my life, wanting to get into, or having my own, I should say, having my own smaller, like, impact investing firm. That is what I would actually like to do. And
I'll work with you if you ever need anybody. I got you.
okay, yes, yes. I'm very interested in that, and I think that having more of a profit model behind or aimed at, some of these high needs areas, I think is the best way to make an impact, right? To see positive things happen, to see change happen. And so I definitely have that. If there's another business, I do want to write a book at some point, which is kind of a business, kind of not a business, right? Depending on how I work with that. So I would like to write a kids book. So we'll see if anything comes of that. But that's been a desire of mine for a few years, actually.
You should talk to Audrey Bakerson. She made a book. She made a children's book. It's called The Little Egg. It sells on Amazon, and it's like a little Easter book. I think it's called The Little Egg. You should reach out to her. She went through Amazon. Like it's on Amazon right now.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Yes, I've been wanting to do that for a few years. I've had some ideas down. I've kind of written some stuff, and then once I hit grad school, it got pushed to the side a little bit just because of the other things I've been focusing on. But yeah, that's definitely one thing that I want to do, and hopefully before I turn 35. I'll give myself a few more years to get that one knocked out.
I've been working. I do a lot of journaling, and I'm hoping to turn that into a book. I have probably over 200 pages of just writing and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know how it translates to an actual book. We'll see. Yeah. That's pretty interesting, though. Very cool. So, in doing this, who has been like the most impactful people in your life? Like, even critical, or just crucial, or just supportive? Who's been there for you?
Yeah. So, the number one person in my life is my mom. Hands down. She's the most amazing person I've ever met, and I can't believe that, she is my mom. And she's been my biggest supporter. She pushes me a lot when I have, doubts, and when I have frustrations. She really pushes me through everything. So she's kind of my person in that regard, and my biggest fan. She's done some amazing things with her life as well. So for a while, she was a single mom, and she's able, to raise 3 kids, and she ran a business without having a college degree. And, and she did the books and the finances and brought a company out of bankruptcy, all without a college degree, while raising 3 kids on her own. Like, she's a very cool person. And as much as we stand here, at Notre Dame getting our master's degrees, there's something, really cool about people who are talented enough and smart enough to do really cool things without college degrees as well. So she's probably, my person, like my biggest inspiration. I've also had some great mentors. There's 2 professors specifically in my undergrad, who have been a couple of my biggest supporters, and I've really been able to ask and talk to about anything, about all of my ideas. When I was in undergrad, my friend and I tried to start a recycling company, and these 2 professors, I don't know if I can say their names or not. I don't know if that matters, but
Shout them out.
Yeah. Professor Barclay, Dr. Barclay and Dr. Omer, you guys made a huge impact on my life. Love you guys. I still keep in contact with them. And they both served as references for my Notre Dame application as well. But yeah, they were my and my friends mentors in getting that recycling company up and then contracted out by the Brown County Fair out in South Dakota. There's not a whole lot of recycling going on in South Dakota, so that's what we felt passionate about trying. It is so much harder to do anything than it's, and to implement a business and to get it going. It is much harder than building a business plan, right? Like when you look at something on paper and the ideas that you have.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I get that.
So they were with us through that and through a few of these other ideas that we had, that we ran through these business pitch competitions to try to win funding for them. A few of them were like being, a student travel consultant. And there were some other ones. I tried to run with a grocery store app that I was trying to create back in there, and they helped with that. So it's been really cool how invested they are in my success, in all of their students' successes. I still keep in touch with them. I run ideas by them. I'm like, I still want to, start a business, but, in the middle of grad school, I'm not sure. But yeah.
Yeah, well, hey, get into the Idea Center too. Get over there. It's such a beautiful spot. Matt Levy is top notch, and he will fund and try and help your dreams. He does a really good job on that. So I would check that out.
Yeah, I have to make it over there. I haven't made it over there yet, actually, which isn't great.
This week, hey, goal for this week. Get over there. All right. Well, you've been able to do and have some wonderful experiences. You've met some amazing people. You've had support from so many different people. What advice would you try to impart on the people that listen to this podcast? What has been helpful for you to be successful, and where do you think other people can maybe take a little bit from your life and sprinkle it onto theirs?
Yeah. Yeah, this was another question when I read. Carter's getting deep in this podcast.
We stay deep on it. We stay
inspirational.
Deep.
One of the things, I guess, from my personal life, is even if you're not sure what you're doing, or if you're afraid to try something, try it, go all in. Like with the recycling company I mentioned, we were definitely in over our heads. We were too young to be doing something like that and a little too optimistic. But the the lessons, like what we learned, I mean, and just being able to have some of that experience and to get to say, we did something on our own. I mean, just going all in and trying, I think is something that from my own life I've found even through failure has been has had an unbelievably positive impact on my life.
Beautiful.
I'm someone who tries really hard. So I would say, you know, with whatever it is, just go all in, try your hardest. Life is really short. Even if it doesn't work out, I mean, life is non-linear, and you just don't know where you're going to end up and what ripple effects things are going to have, even though we had
Yeah.
a failed recycling company. So
Another conspiracy theory: recycling isn't real.
yeah, yeah, there's a
Not
lot you can
real.
learn about what's going on in recycling and what's not actually happening in recycling.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's crazy. You do see some bins, and then it just all goes into the same one, and you're like, "What's going on
yes,
here?"
also if the recycling is what you're recycling isn't clean, so if there's still drink or food in it, the whole bag is ruined. It has to be clean.
Really?
Yes. Isn't that great? That's not communicated to anyone who's trying to recycle. Nobody really knows that, but it does have to be clean. So that's
But do
that's
people
another.
clean it? Will people try and clean it before? Like, will they go through?
See, I've wondered about that, but as far as I know, no, there isn't anyone afterwards like cleaning it right in the process.
Yeah.
It's more so the user like rinsing out your
Yeah.
cup and then throwing it away in the recycling bin.
Dang. That's
It's-
that's no, nobody's communicated that.
Yeah.
Now, that's some good advice. Clean out your recyclables.
Yeah, yes, before you recycle them, just rinse them out. Yes.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
Cool. Um, what is something that is core to you? What do you think makes you you?
Yes. What makes me me? Hmm. This is one that I struggled to answer or come up with an answer for. Um, People are so complex and have so many different, parts of them.
Right.
Um, I mean, I think one of the unique things about me is I really try to see the positive impact of what I do. So specifically in the business sense, right? Wanting to find that intersection of where business can do good, right? And can move things in
Yeah.
the positive direction, right? Move the needle in the positive direction, um, is pretty core to how I look at business and at life. I mean, if you go somewhere, are you leaving it a little bit better than how you found it? Are you, the conversation that you have with
True.
someone, are you are you interacting with them? It's not everything's going to be positive, but I think if you go in with there's a purpose and there's some intentionality kind of behind everyone you meet, the situations you're put in, whatever's in front of you for that day, I think that's kind of how I orient myself is like there's a lot of purpose and a lot of intentionality. So
Yeah.
what can you do with it? Um I don't know if that answers your question exactly how you
No, it's
meant it,
beautiful.
but
Like you're taking it on and you're trying to make something better. Like in each
yeah.
opportunity, you're just trying to like add your part, right? Like we're all trying to contribute our verse, and it's like trying to make a difference. It's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, I think that by doing that, you have had a nice, profound effect on being able to change people's lives. You do bring that great. Um, so now we get into a couple of questions that are a little different.
All right.
But if you could have dinner with anyone, who's at your table?
Oh my gosh. If I could have dinner with anybody,
Is it Taylor? Is it Taylor Swift?
oh, I would sit down with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and talk to them about their relationship.
What's going on here?
Yeah, what's happening here? Um, I would say I would love, in the spirit of Notre Dame, I would love to talk to Father Hesburgh. It would be so cool to talk to Father Ted and hear about his life. And he is
Yeah.
passed, of course, but if we're talking about anybody, I would have to say Father Hesburgh, spirit of Notre Dame.
He truly is the spirit of Notre Dame, honestly.
Yeah, he is.
Have you been into his office?
No, actually, we were supposed to go this past week, and there was a plumbing problem. And so I believe part of the office got flooded or something along those lines. So
Dang.
we had to cancel our tour, but we're trying to get it rescheduled.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's a beautiful office. I got to go in there during graduation weekend. It was special. It was really, really quite nice. Highly recommend it. And sit in his desk and everything. He's still got his like old cigars sitting there, and in the office, it has the best view of the Golden Dome. It's just like the most pristine, perfect.
Oh my gosh, I bet. Yeah, I'll have to let you know when I make it up there. As I will before I graduate. I'll definitely make it up there.
It's like an apartment. It's crazy. It's because they set up his space to if he wanted to sleep in there, and then he had like a kitchen. It had everything. So yeah, let me know what you think. But no, that'd be really cool, and you can talk about faith. And I mean, he should be a saint for all he's done.
Maybe someday he will be.
Yeah.
Sometimes that stuff happens like way down the road.
Yeah, I know. It takes a long time, and then you got to have all that. I mean, God bless him, because that's like I'm no saint.
Yeah. Well, I'm not either. I know we've been talking about positive impact and
yeah, right,
and all that stuff, but no, pretty normal person as well.
All right, in terms of some great things that you've done in your life, do you have any like bucket list items that you want to accomplish in the future?
Yeah. I mentioned the kids book. That's one that I like to mention if you never ask me. I definitely want to write kids book and at least have one person buy it. If one person buys it, I'll feel like I'm a children's author. I don't know. That's
Hey, they could be a sponsor for the pod.
Yeah, someday. My other bucket list items are a little bit more travel oriented. Places I want to go.
True. Yeah,
and I mean, a lot of that I'd love to go to Africa. I'd love to go to actually the town where my grandpa emigrated from, which is in Slovakia. And so I would like to go see that.
Oh, cool.
And yes, my great grandfather is buried over there. And so I'd like to go see that and kind of see where, originally I'm from and where they're from. So
yeah, so
that's on my bucket list for, family and personal reasons. The kids book thing is just for fun. I don't know. I'm not sure. I just really want to do that. And other than that, I mean, I guess I want to start a business. And I've got ideas, but I don't know if that's bucket list or not. But we've got to narrow down a little bit more what I want to do before I start saying that I'm going to do that,
If you ever need a brainstorm, let me know.
Yeah.
Ayo, today's luck management episode is brought to you by Charm ND, or Charmed, if you'd like to call it, whatever you want to call it. It could be whatever you'd like. So Charm ND is an idea I came up with, and I'm super passionate about it. I've always wanted to hold a piece of Notre Dame in my hand. Highly customizable to whatever you want. And they have the grotto. They have the reflecting pond water from Hesburgh Library. They have 24 karat gold flakes, the dirt from Main Quad. They have stadium seat shavings from the old seats of Notre Dame, the Notre Dame Stadium football pellets of the enjoyed and loved football team. And if you want to make one customizable, I'm happy to work with you. Go Irish and go Charm ND. Now let's get back to the show.
No, that's a lot of it does come down to traveling and stuff, and being able to see your roots. I think will be so special.
Yes.
That's
I also want to go see the Women's College World Series. That's out in Oklahoma.
yeah.
Being a college softball player, I haven't actually made it out there, so that's also on my bucket list. I want to go see. I
Out
want to go
there
see
in
all tournaments.
Oklahoma.
Yes, in
Oh,
Oklahoma.
where is it in Oklahoma?
I believe Oklahoma City.
Oh, I just went a few like a month ago. It's a cool city. It's like it's a beefed up South Bend. It's like
Okay.
2 times South Bend. Actually, what's the population? It's not huge. Oklahoma City. Well, anyway, I actually want to look this up. Oklahoma City population 681,000. So it's actually pretty big, but from the outside, it doesn't seem like a massive city.
Okay.
It's a pretty sprawled out. But
Spread
Oklahoma
out.
City, cool place to
Yeah.
visit. Fun for a weekend. I don't know if it's. Well, you've been in some places where you've seen South Dakota, so you'd probably be like, "This is dope."
Yeah. Yeah. South Dakota has like changed the way I view every other town. I'm like, oh, there's like
Yeah.
quite a bit going on in South Bend, and some people are like, no.
There's nothing. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you were president, though,
Mm-hmm.
what executive order are you instituting?
Oh my gosh, Carter. Oh my gosh.
What do you got?
I got, I don't want to say nothing, but you wrote, you can go silly, you can go serious.
Yeah, anything you're feeling. Gummy bears for breakfast.
All right. Will you cut some of this pause?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. 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 Because there was the last couple questions I was like, this was one of them.
Well,
I
hey, we're coming up on like it's an hour and 53. I can just like skip to the last one, because then I'll have to like kind of cut all this stuff, or the last couple minutes anyway.
Yeah,
So
let's do
if
that.
you
I
don't
don't
have
have a
one
good
for
answer.
that,
I don't have a good
yeah.
one.
Well, if you do come up with one, you can let me know, and then we'll do a quick like, oh, recording.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so we'll just restart right now. Okay, so
Perfect.
last and final question, Kenzie. This has been the best podcast. Like this has been really great to be able to learn more about you, your thoughts on just your life and how Notre Dame has impacted it, but also what you did before and how it's going to impact what you're going to be doing moving forward. And a lot of that comes down to luck in a sense. Do you believe in luck or fate, or what are your thoughts on luck? And do you
Hmm.
even consider it luck?
I I don't know that I consider it luck per se. I
Hmm.
think, as you've talked about on some of your other podcasts, if you put yourself in situations to be lucky or in enough opportunities, good things will happen. And that kind of ties a little bit into more of my spiritual aspect in thinking that everyone has a purpose that they're looking for in the world. And so if you put yourself in enough opportunities and you're out there looking and trying hard, like you'll find something that'll be really good. And I think a lot of times people consider that lucky. But I think it's more so if you put yourself in good opportunities, you're gonna find something that aligns with what you want, with what you're looking for, with what you're good at, and kind of just with your whole flow, you know?
All about the flow. I like that.
Yeah.
And you spot the lie. I said luck, but yeah, I don't really consider it luck. It's like you got to put in. They say like in prayer too. Sometimes you have to believe what you're praying for is already there, and like emanating it and manifesting it. There is a real power to that. So
Yeah.
I believe
With
it.
with meditating too, I think it's really about changing your mindset.
Mhm.
And if you can reframe your mindset, things you start to see things differently and the opportunities differently, and like, and you can sort of make the best of what opportunities come your way. And I think good things happen from that.
Totally. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Well, this has been an absolutely wonderful podcast. Episode 57 is one for the books.
Yeah.
And I am so appreciative of you coming on. And I'll see you in October, or I'll see you for the USC game and everything. But one last thing I just wanted to say is, you guys see all this? I've been looking at that. Everyone, if you can, donate blood. Donating blood is so crucial, so important to help save lives. I just did it today. So if you're not afraid of giving blood or needles and stuff, do it. um, and yeah, thank you so much, Kenzie. But wherever you listen, Apple or Spotify, keep living the luck management lifestyle. Peace.
Boom.